Welcome to those of you who joined us a month ago when we began this series of reflections. And this is the second one. Because some of you are joining us today instead of a month ago, I'd like to spend a few minutes just revising what the purpose of this series of reflections is. Just so that you know, we're used to change, and this may be a new way of exchanging the journey that we're taking individually. This will become clearer in a minute. But we're all on life's journey, every single human being. And it begins when we're conceived, and it ends when physically we die. And that is the journey for all of us. Nobody can opt out. There are no two ways. It's one life's journey. And it's unique to each one. And nobody else has responsibility for living this journey but me. And so, because our times are difficult, the journey we're making at the moment is into recognition of the new era, the new aspect of the journey which humanity is making now. It started perhaps about 50, 60 years ago that we woke up to how different the times were, how much was changing around us, and therefore how much we were changing as the human species. The challenges and therefore the opportunities which we were getting new every day. And so we decided, let's meet once a month and take up one of the changes that we're seeing, the challenges, and give ourselves time to reflect deeply, clearly, slowly on what is happening in my life to me. And then finding some way, friends, strangers, somehow, of sharing your experience with others and learning from their experience when they are willing to share with you. So if any of you came for the first time tonight and thought that this would be a series like a conference or a lecture where the emphasis is on gathering academic information, I'm afraid no. This is just a reminder, and in some way, through the questions or the theme that's presented, a reminder and therefore a help of the work I have to do on my journey and how necessary it is to take a move back, a step back from the demands and the challenges of every day and listen carefully to what is really happening to me, my journey, and my relationship with the rest of the world and humanity. All of us on the same journey, all of us on a completely unique journey. So if this is a surprise to you, if you've just come and joined us tonight, I suggest that when we've finished with recording this video for you, you start there and say, okay, this is different. This is not what I expected, but how valuable can it be? And am I going to follow and see if it is valuable for me? Doing it this way. Okay. Now, we're maturing as a human race. That's the main thing. Now, we all know a great deal about the maturing process. We've all done it. We've all grown from being a baby to whatever age and stage in life we are now. So we know it. And we perhaps have the joy and the challenge of watching our own children or even our own grandchildren on their journey of maturing. We're maturing into not just the fullness of our physical and psychological capacities. We're not just growing up as human persons. There is another element in our maturing process. And we'll talk about this as we go along. So this is a question of looking at where I am on the journey of maturing into fullness of life, the fullness of being human. When we met last time, we had a theme to look at how much courage it has taken me to mature in life where I am now. Courage. Human beings have courage. Courage to face the unknown, the insecure, to go in trust, to face pain, to face joy. You can mention many things. You can look at your own life, which is what we suggested last time, is that we first of all look at the challenges to our courage that I've had throughout my life so far, from being a small child until the age I am now. Perhaps often it's been a challenge that has taken the most physical effort. Sometimes it's been a challenge that's taken the emotions, and challenged us to change our attitudes to other people, to risk seeing positively what we've usually seen negatively in people, and so on. Courage. Humanity has courage. It's always set out onto an unknown journey, pulled, pushed from the need to explore, to understand, to respond to the gift of life. And you've looked at it through your own life's journey. Courage. One of the most surprising things for most of us was to discover that courage very often means letting go of our security, of letting go of those things we feel certain of feeling that we have the power and the understanding to cope. Letting go is not easy. And at the particular point on humanity's journey at which we now stand, we are being asked to let go our understanding, our security, in thinking that we have ability, influence, power, which we do not have. Now that's a big challenge. And so we're taking it small, in small steps. If we've discovered that, yes, to be human means that I have courage, but I also have my own responsibility to develop my courage by using it, we have a look now and discover what makes it difficult to go forward in courage. Confusion and fear grow up in us when we have no clear purpose, clarity of purpose. In our world today, we are experiencing a great deal of fear and confusion. It's running right through our human family. We're usually putting the blame on politics or economics or certainly on the virus. But basically, fear and confusion in living our lives comes from the fact that we are not clear about the purpose of our existence. Now, I know many of us have looked at this before, and we'll go on looking at it. Things we call the perennial and universal questions. Questions that we all have to face. They're universal. To be human means we have to face these questions. They keep on coming back no matter how many times we think we've answered them. So they're perennial throughout life. They're universal for every single human being. What are they? Basically, first of all, how did all this get here? In other words, the universe, all the life forms, human life, where has it all come from? Where is it going to? And then, the most important, why am I here? Why am I a member of the human species alive on planet Earth at this point in the journey that humanity's been taking for millennia? And we're all on it now. And why am I, the unique person I am, why am I on this journey? Well, why do I exist? You probably toss this around in your heads, all of us have, many times, either through the way we have had our formal education in school, from our culture, or even from our religious tradition. We have been given answers to those questions. The question of why do I exist? The answer I have to discover myself. All the things, all the answers that have come to us through the great minds, thinkers, explorers, researchers, in the sciences, in the philosophies and religions, I still have to discover the answer for myself, for my life. Why do I exist? How clear am I about the purpose and the reason for my life? Where has it come from? Now, the answers of philosophy, science, religion may have attracted me, may have satisfied me to a certain extent, or they may not. I may have rejected them all. But when I have listened to them and tried to work with them, I'm left with this big challenge. Is there a source that has created all this, including me? All that exists that we do not know, will never, perhaps never will know. All that I know about my existence, my physical existence, on this planet. Now, these are not answers, they're just like signposts. When you start thinking again, you might like to go in this direction or that direction, just a starting point. Why do I exist? Unfortunately, having confusion or frustration and nobody to help find a way to an answer to that question has brought too many of our human family to the point of suicide, of throwing life away. There is no reason why I should exist. And that is still happening all the way around us. Why do I exist? What is the purpose in my existence? And where there is no clarity of purpose for my life, then fear and confusion grow very quickly and easily. And so, have a look. The answers you have gained in life, either through sciences or through religions and philosophies, through books and through meeting with people, looking to see why these answers that they gave you have satisfied you or have not, that might be the most important way for some of us to look at this question during the coming month, but there'll be others. It might be a help because we get a lot of information now through our television and social media to update a little on what we know about humanity now physically. For example, the human mind. We know a great deal more about the human mind physically and psychologically than we did only 30 years ago. What have I learned now? Because it's not about people out there, it's about me. It's not mind as a sort of objective speculation. This is my mind, that organism that's sitting there between my ears. What have we learned about mind? The value of the human mind, the medical research that's gone on, the physical research, the physics have entered into this world. And has the religious tradition I get help from, has that said anything more about my mind and its importance? That's another way some of you may want to go today. The main thing that will come out of this, of course, is the question, can anything exist that my mind cannot know, understand, and control? Can anything exist that is mystery to my mind? Yes. But how do I know that? If the mind cannot give me the answer, how will I know the mystery that has created life? Because anything that cannot be understood by the mind remains a mystery to me. If the mind is the only way I can know it. But if we look back over our history and right to the present day, we'll meet women and men in our history who were very sure of the mystery of life, the life that created life, the life that creates life now, and nothing else can. We use the word creation and creativity and creator very lightly, because what it really means is that here is the power that can produce something out of nothing. Normally, when we talk about creation or about creativity in a human being, is that they see things in new connections. You know, musicians and artists, for example, see colors and shapes and movement in ways that most people don't. They're sensitive to those things, and they have the experience of being able to produce explanations and images that help other people. But they really don't create anything. None of us are creators. We can rearrange, we can get insight into what exists. But to the mystery of existence, no. We have had, throughout the whole of our journey as humanity, had men and women, women and men, in every part of the world, in all ages and cultures, who do know that mystery that can't be known by mind. And therefore we've called them the mystics, the people who have experienced the mystery. And most often, as we know, the mystics cannot put into language, can't put it into the categories that the mind uses to explain knowledge. The mystics very often know, but cannot tell us what they know. I know the one in whom I have believed, and I am sure. And some of our greatest mystics stopped there and said, well, okay, I can tell you it is, but I can't tell you how or why. I can't explain it in terms that the mind uses to explain, the words or the images. Now, this may seem, oh, good gracious me, I'm not one of those, but you are. We are all have the capacity to know what is beyond mind, what is mystery to the mind, and yet is the ultimate reality. The Creator, the one who alone brings everything into existence and holds it in existence. And now we're getting nearer to, why do I exist? Could it be that I exist to know the source of existence, the one who is creator, that which alone is? And could it be that the purpose of my existence is to discover how to live in the mystery, how to become a mystic? You know, it's a very long way from thinking that we'll get it through academic distinction or the amount of money we've managed to put in the bank. No? The mystics know by experience, and frequently they cannot put their experience into the symbols and words and categories that the mind usually uses. Now, is this a long way away? Well, it isn't. And this is the point of the series. We are into a new era. It's begun. It's another stage in humanity's maturing into the fullness of life. We have much evidence for it when we look around, and we really have the responsibility to I have been gifted with life, this life, and I have a gift that is beyond anything else I could dream of. To know the reality of myself, the mystery of myself. You know, when we first started and said, why do I exist? Many of us might have been satisfied by saying, well, I can heal people. I'm here to be a good doctor. Or I'm here to raise the family, to be a father of a marvelous family, happy children. Well, this is true. That's one way. But every single human being is born to enter into the mystery of existence within me. Whether I'm homeless on the streets, or whether I'm a poet laureate, or I'm a multimillionaire, it's not a question of what I have done or think I have achieved. It's an experience of mystery beyond mind, which is the source of life. We've used the word God for a long time, so we have misused its meaning. Here, we're talking about the source of all that is, the one who alone is. Now, we talked about courage last time, and this time we're looking a little further. It takes a great deal of courage to let go and realize there is much, not that I have to learn with my mind, but that I have to experience. One thing that will probably come to us while we're exploring these possible ways today, or this month rather, is, do I really realize that I have a body? Yes, of course. Every time I fall down or sneeze or want something to eat, I realize I have a body. Do I really realize I have a mind and emotions? Every time somebody I fall in love with lets me down or responds, I certainly know I have an emotion. And many other things too. But is there more to being human than that? That which will continue when my journey in space-time completes itself. Not something that I discover only after my body psyche is finished and falls away. It's now. In other words, when I'm exploring why do I exist, I'm also exploring who am I, what am I. Now you're all in a very different position on this journey, and so none of these are saying this way or that way or this answer or that answer. For each of us, it's our own individual journey. Only we can make it. And so where you start with any of these suggestions, as why not look at this or why not look at that? What has your experience been of this or of that? Why do you find it satisfying? Why do you not find it satisfying any longer? Wherever you start on your reflection for the month, go your way. There's no one way. It's your journey. Each of us has the journey. And these are only possible signposts, possible directions to begin in. It's a big help usually if after you've done some preliminary work with the mind on this situation, you turn to somebody else and find out how they have made the journey, what answers they're coming to, and why and how. It quite often shows light onto why I'm saying, no, that has not been my experience. And you know your own experience more clearly. So this is different, isn't it? It's not a question of this is the question, these are the answers. Explore. Humanity is exploring. It was created with the instinct to explore, the need to explore. It takes courage to explore. And so we mentioned courage last month, and now the exploration as to why do I really exist?